Hopefulness 2.0, January 3rd, I think, I want to say. Pretty sure. Making a couple of changes. Got some sugar in here in this new deli container. It's not the kind that I had hoped for, but the combination of 50 lids, 25 containers was like $12, I want to say. Ugh. Receipt somewhere around here. And so I figure I could start trying to store stuff in deli containers more so. And so I've if you will. Oh, okay. By the way, the other deli container that I was actually thinking about was these little bad boys that you can, like, these are good quality. These are the ones you should go for if you're gonna just like dive in and get deli containers, because it has that little lip in there. They're there, but it's not as strong, if you will. Doesn't feel as sturdy as these do. And one thing you can do with these, you get two of these, and like if for whatever reason you need to cut up some cherry tomatoes, you can just kind of like put them all in there, put another one on top, and then just kind of slice between. Obviously, kind of put your hand on there, keep it in. But yeah, that's a little trick from Ethan Chabowski, I want to say is his last name. I'm going to grab some cookies because I feel the need for sweet. Water, not milk. Now you might be saying, Justin, wow, why would you spend... No, I never actually mentioned how much we spent. Today I spent approximately $230 on groceries. One might say, wow, that's a lot of money. Somebody else might say, well, that's my weekly budget. For me, that was pretty much a month's worth. I got 2 whole chickens. This is the small one because I had to stop off at Food for Less for the rest of the stuff. Forgot to get some onions because I was going to do like a quick pickle onion, red onion. Just kind of wanted to see how that would work out, but I didn't get it. So we'll see what happens in the future. 4 things of cottage cheese, the big ones. Those things can, like, the great thing about cottage cheese is I like the flavor. I don't need to add anything to it. I don't need to add pepper or peaches or pineapple or any of that crap. But I also don't eat a lot of it at a time. I usually just eat like a few spoonfuls worth. I try to max out at like a cup. And when I say I like the flavor, I do pretty much scarf it all down. But I don't have a problem with it. I'm not one of those people who's like, ugh, cottage cheese is so whatever, boring or something. To me, it's not boring. It's flavorful enough. I like dairy, so I'm gonna eat dairy. Now, this thing is about 2/3 full from where it started. And I did get another, just in case. That'll last me a while. Big old thing of pork and beans. And then a big old thing of baked beans. Hang on a second. Grocery list. At Smart and Final, I spent $172.55. Got some parchment paper because I ran out. I probably don't need it as much as I think I do, but it'll last me a while. Got a bunch of butter, got some eggs, bacon ends and pieces, and then the whole chickens. I want to do the whole chickens again because I want to do another like full debone dry brine because that worked out really well. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one, but I'm into the dry brining. Also, it's not a normal Oreo. It's a mint Oreo. Our first opening shot was just like me being disorganized. This has been $172 at Smart and Final. I got the sugar because I hadn't had any sugar. I was running low because what I showed you. This is all I had left. Now I have 2 more of these bags, so that's going to last a while. I did go ahead and get 2 bags of chocolate chips. Those should last me a little bit too. And one of the things I can do is I can take those chocolate chips and just kind of mix them all together in one container. And I might do that now, actually. If I could. That way, just the container is what's taking up space in my my pantry and not. Now you might say, these 2 bags don't really take up that much space. I don't have a ton of space. But for the most part, they'll take up lateral space, whereas this will mostly take up vertical space. Now I could just maybe do that for now. And I guess I'll just go ahead and do that. But I've also got to keep them out of sight, or not so much out of sight, kind of. Because I don't shut my pantry door, because one of the things that's problematic with an ADHD brain is if I don't see it, it tends to go away. And I don't like that. Here's the other bag of sugar. Now these, because of their size, I mean, these are both, 4 pounds of sugar. I can just stick these off to the side, no big deal. Because they take up both lateral and vertical space. So it's not a big deal. Now if I had a much bigger container, let's say another one of these for the sugar, that'd probably be smart. And I might do it because I've got this other one that I had for wheat flour, and I just haven't been buying any wheat flour. I've only been buying bread and AP flour. I got some sweetened condensed milk and some evaporated milk. I'm going to see what I can do with either one of those in the coming days and or weeks. These are just kind of a splurge. Like, maybe I'll make some X or Y. Who knows? I was going to do this video on January 1st. Oh. But I've been lazy as fuck. I mean, I haven't cleaned a single dish in probably weeks. I've just been kind of like, maybe not weeks, probably like at least a week and a half, maybe. Largely just because, like, I've been slowly whittling away at what I had because I was like, when am I going to do the... Because, like, it took a while. Like, I left the house at... I'm gonna say around 7:45 maybe. Like I went and got the car, and that was another thing too. It's like if I didn't get the car, the car rental thing sorted out properly, then I wouldn't be shopping for anything, and I would have had to do something else. It's pretty much at bare bones. I literally had just finished, for the most part, this whole thing of peanut butter. Like I can scrape a shit ton out of it, but most of it's gone. And I do have another one that I haven't opened yet. And I have, I got pasta, I got rice. Those two are probably going to go, I'm probably just going to keep them where they're at currently, but in the future, I'll probably put them in some of the containers. Because that way they can be cleaned and I can put them in the dishwasher. Whereas right now they're just in plastic bags. Which, does the job, but I'm thinking, maybe with the rice I'll change the wheat flour out. That'd probably work. Because usually I get a lot of rice. I guess I can move these down here. But yeah, so I keep my pantry open because ADD brain. And then by doing so, I've got to keep certain things out of the light. I don't want to, melt the sugars or anything like that, or ruin any of the oils or anything. Most of the other stuff, it's not sensitive enough for it to matter. And so I don't have to worry about it too much. I have most of the groceries that belong in the fridge, if not all of them. Well, yeah, all of them. I got 2 bricks of cheese, 4 gallons of milk, got the thing of Parmesan, I got some olives, because I was like, I want to get some olives in me again. But this time I got them where they didn't have that weird melange with the spiciness or anything. But I will admit, so when I had the last set of chicken thighs, I'd taken them out of the freezer because it was getting to the point where I needed to freeze them. Because usually I'll just prep them and bake them and keep them in the fridge, but it was when I had the chickens and all other stuff and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, after a couple of days of thawing, I was like, all right, I need to do something to these things, because I can't just throw them back in the freezer. And so I wet brined them in this pot. I was able to put I think it was 8 in here. And they're of pretty decent size usually. And then I was able to take, because I had 2 of those containers, they were effectively empty. They didn't have any more olives, but they had quite a bit of liquid still in them. So I just dumped everything into here, put the lid on, stuck it in the fridge for a day. And then I put them on this rack to dry out. Let them dry out for a couple days. And then when it was time for me to get close to prepping, that was when, I took out the thigh bones, put them in the bag, in the freezer, and it's that's probably what I'm going to mostly use those freezer bags for now, is for my my stock stuff. But and then I was like, all right. But since there were some exposed areas at that point that hadn't gotten the brine treatment, I just kind of threw on some sea salt, or actually kosher salt, and then let them sort of dry out for a couple more days. I let them dry out for at least 1 day after the fact, and then I started cooking them from that point on. And it was for the first day, I think I cooked 2, and the next day I think I cooked 2 more, and then on the third day I cooked the rest, and also had all the other other stuff, the garlics and the peppers and everything. And that is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destem these. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just blitz them all when I make my next salsa. We'll see. I don't know. Oh yeah, I had some. Since I didn't really have any food on hand, I was just like ready to eat. Went and got Popeyes, and they give you some of the spicy sauce on the side. I'm sure it's like mayo and some other stuff, but like you can put however much you want in it. But I also put it in some rice. Actually, rice and corn, because I was like, let's get poor. let's get that super poor that I already am. And take some frozen corn. Put about an equal amount of that into some day-old rice. At that point, it was like 2 or 3 days. And just microwave them together. They were filling for sure. I threw in like a couple of tablespoons of butter, some olive oil in the next one. Just kind of wanted to see, and then dumped a bunch of salt and pepper into them. But I also put that in there as well. It all just really balanced out. It was actually pretty good. Not a staple meal by any means that I would want to intentionally ingest on a regular basis, just because like it was just generally kind of like uninspired and boring. It didn't taste bad because I mean it had a lot of seasonings in it, but just not what I'm after. That's why I always grab some kind of meat product. And I try to get, like sometimes I'll do eggs, but eggs can be kind of difficult with rice. Unless you're doing like fried rice, and that in of itself can be a bit of a task. But yeah, I gotta look at that quick pickle. I got plenty of distilled vinegar remaining. I gotta figure out what would be best to put what in what when it comes to a number of things. Because I mean, like now I have these containers. Let's just use this one because it's available. But now I've got these containers, so like whenever I make lemon curd again, I can do that. Boom, stick it in the fridge. I've already got the one up there as it is, but now I have more. And then I can also do this with like the rice or the pasta or whatever. And so like I can, maybe fill it up 2/3 of the way or something with cooked pasta or cooked rice or whatever. And then I can stick that in the fridge. And then that's my meal. Like this will be the size of my meals essentially. Because it'll help with portions, for one. But then again, it's like one thing I could do is I could cook up a bunch of chicken, for instance, like I typically do. Let it cool down, cut it up, and then just toss it into 1 or 2 of these, and then now I've got like ready to mix in chicken pieces, and I don't have to worry about the sizes of the chicken thighs or anything like that. And so there's that. I would like to incorporate more vegetables, but good God, is it a pain in the ass? Because there's nothing nearby that I can buy them from. It's like vegetables aren't easy for me to acquire in the same sense as, like, let's say I live downtown. Where I lived back in Pasadena, there was a store that was a 10-minute walk from my house. It was a Vons. But I mean, vegetables generally are cheap. The problem with vegetables is their price goes up when they aren't used, when you have to throw them away. When you have to throw them away. Because you didn't use them fast enough. And so that is itself an issue. Um, and so like I got the deli lid, I got the deli containers and the lids, and I was like, all right, these are just how I'm replacing certain things. Like for instance, okay, I will probably, I might as well do it now actually. I probably don't need to, because this is baking powder. Rather, this is baking soda. So my baking powder is in its own container. I might just keep this for now. And yeah, I'll probably just keep this as it is for now. Because it does the trick. But then when I'm done with that in 5 years or 10 or whatever, or when it just doesn't work anymore, then I can switch over to these. Or I can get like the smaller versions or something. Because I've got twice the number of lids that I do the big containers. And it says these are dishwasher safe. Let me make sure. It says microwave safe. Maybe they're not dishwasher safe. We'll find out. If they aren't, well, that'll be an unfortunate loss. Because the containers were $6 for 25. So, we'll see. If they're not, and they are pretty flimsy plastic, I know the other ones are, so it's a non-issue. But food storage, especially for long term, always a good idea to consider. Because I could take out this stuff, because this is all, I haven't been using it because I keep forgetting about it. Now it's in a clear thing, and it says sugar, but it's not sugar. It's actually psyllium husk. It's just that this is a psyllium husk. It's mostly a psyllium husk, and I need to consume more of it anyway, but it's mostly a psyllium husk that has no additives. It's just the psyllium husk. It's kind of fucking boring. It doesn't really mix well or anything, whereas with the CVS stuff, at least that shit seems to mix. So as I was using this, I started dumping more of the CVS stuff into it, because this is closer to your Metamucil. And most people don't have enough fiber in their life as it is. I know I don't. But even if you have fiber in your life, this just helps make your poops that much better. There's a great video from Hank Green about Metamucil, and he's all like, I would love to shout their benefits from the rooftops. Oh god, I'm dealing with some fucking tinnitus right now. Hold on. This may or may not work, I don't know. I don't ever deal with tinnitus that much, but occasionally I still get it. And it's not like the sort of long pitch. This one seems to be more pulsing for some reason, and I've never dealt with it before like this. I've never had it. And I've expected myself to deal with tinnitus, because when I was a kid, there was a day that for whatever reason, I thought to myself, I think it was because I was like, well, let's, the whole, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger thing? Maybe I was thinking to myself, if I do these things to myself, I will improve my sight and hearing. And so what I had done was, I had this big, it was a pretty decent sized sheet of the tiny bubble wrap. And so I would pop it right at my ear. And it wasn't a number of them at once. It was one at a time, deliberate, slow, get the whole experience kind of thing. And then on top of it, I had this fucking big old plastic, the big, almost goofy kids flashlight, if you will. It's probably closer to a Stanley or something, but the lens is like this big or whatever, and I would turn it on and I'd stare at it as long as I possibly could until I just couldn't do it anymore. I spent a day with both of those things at the same time. How I haven't lost both my sight and hearing since, I don't know. But I expect that any tinnitus that I may experience is due to that day. And the reason I drink Oreos with water and most cookies is because they're already sweet enough on their own. But I think it was because like one day I found myself without milk. I was like, I need to wash this down with something. I had water and I was like, this is a pretty good experience. In a way, it's better. Because like, you can't really wash anything down when you're consuming cookies and milk. Whereas this, I get to wash it down. I get to like experience for the best that it can provide a cleaner end to the cookie experience. Plus, it's just fewer calories anyway, so whatever. I mean, I'm eating cookies, so it shouldn't matter that much, but it's a little bit. Also, I was going to empty this out because it's too hot. And why not sort of finish where I more or less started when it came to this place. Whew. Good Lord. Oh, it's all Serranos with some vinegar. So they never went bad. Those have been in there since pretty much the day I bought those Serranos. Or, well, not the Serranos, but roughly, obviously, because, you got to do the whole thing. But when I bought the container, the mason jar, I was like, all right, let's do this. And I haven't really used that since. Like, I used it a little bit because I was making some tacos. And holy shit, they were some good-ass tacos. Probably the best tacos I've ever made. Which, to be honest, is every taco I make at this point. The best taco I ever make is the next taco that I make. Because, like, I've just been learning more and more about seasonings and cooking capabilities and how to cook this, that, and the other. And like, with the dry brine and the wet brine chicken and all that kind of stuff, I mean, that helps make it last longer for one, but at the same time, it's fucking delicious. And I mean, really, I have found that a good taco, the meat is what sings. Hang on, let me check something. Okay, good. I bought this sour cream, and I hadn't had it before, and I was like, well, I had the other ones that are pretty much the same. I don't know what the difference is, but we'll see. Last two were great. This one's more liquid, but it doesn't matter. And so I'll put it in like smoothies, but I'll also put it on some tacos if I have any. Probably not gonna have any. Also, one of the reasons why I was waiting as long as I was to ensure that I would get food stamps. I still haven't gotten any. So I figured if I had a food stamp card in the mail, okay, then now I can go to the store and spend as much of that as possible and then move on to that, spending actual cash. Because it got approved for like $119. Toss you in here too. 2. So I think I got 3 of those because I have one more in here. Yeah. I'd have to check the Amazon account. But yeah. But it's been 2 years since I got here, 2 years and a couple days. A lot hasn't really changed that much, which is unfortunate. So I'm still struggling. I wasn't struggling as much when I had my last job, but then, of course, I got fired because of, had that minor collision that was essentially a hit and run. Which sucks. And then the current job that I have, I'm just... being awake and doing it sucks. And since I've been screwing, I've managed to just absolutely wreck my sleep schedule. I woke up at 7 today. I've been trying to flip it, but it's just not been working. So tomorrow morning I need to just get up and go to the library as soon as I can, so that I can put work in, and then not be at home because it's just too cozy lighting wise. What's changed about my life? Or let's look at some things that have changed in my life in one way or another. Like things that I didn't really have any influence on, but they do have a potential influence on me. So the first things that I can think of are the metro related stuff. There is that downtown interchange that occurred that made it to where I didn't have to fucking ride 3 trains to get to work anymore. I only had to ride 2. That helped a lot. As long as it was running at a decent fucking time and didn't have, 20 or 30 or half hour fucking, which is the same as 30-minute delays between changeovers. It was terrible at night. The changeover sucked at night. Once I was doing the daytime stuff, it didn't matter. And I'm like, that's not when it should be all the same. So there's still a lot of improvement when it comes to that. Obviously, one thing about myself that has changed is that I've gotten better at cooking. I didn't have much opportunity to cook when I was living in my last place because it kind of looked like this all the time. But it wasn't because of me. At least I was living, when I was living with other people, I cleaned up after myself pretty quickly. And I was trying to learn, and that was when I did most of my learning, was because it was, COVID hit and I had the money and everything, but I couldn't really do anything with it. So I spent a shit ton of time watching videos. Watched a lot of Babish, started watching Adam Ragusia, started watching Ethan. Claire started popping up after the whole Bon Appetit debacle happened. I was watching a lot of Bon Appetit. And so I got a lot of education through those videos, but I didn't get a lot of first-hand practice. It wasn't until I moved here where I had the job and I was like, okay, now I can start doing stuff. I can start making stuff. Not a lot because I don't have a whole lot of money, so I can't do a whole lot. One thing I'm going to do, Adam Ragusia has a quick and easy ice cream. And it just basically requires 2 bowls. And since I don't have 2 bowls that are 2 metal bowls or anything that do the job right, I have that pot and I have that mixing bowl, so I can put the pot inside the mixing bowl. I'll show you. And I can make the ice cream that way. So in the big pot will be ice. I'll have to figure that part out because I don't have any ice. I don't have an ice maker and I don't have any ice trays. So that'll be interesting to try to accomplish. Ice can be pretty cheap, but it's also heavy. I don't really have anywhere to carry it around. I don't even know that. I think the closest place is 7-Eleven. That's a 10+ minute walk. And 10 minutes of carrying ice would suck. So we'll see what happens. What I might do is put this inside like this and then just pour some water in here. Or, actually, pour some water at the bottom, freeze it, stick this on top so there's more space, and then pour more water in there and freeze it as it is. I might have to do that. Now, it'll be solid ice. It won't be as easy to submerge in that sense, but it'll be easy because it'll be molded around that thing. So I think I'll do that. And I think that's where the evaporated milk comes into play. I've got eggs now, so I can do things like custards or pastry cream. One of the things that I'm going to try to accomplish, and I need to go to it's a restaurant supply up the street. It's not exactly close. But one, I want to see if I can find a stock pot from them of reasonable price. But two, a rolling pin. And the reason why, because I don't like those weird ones that have the little rolly that's with the down, your traditional one. I don't like those as much. I want to get one that's like a dowel, basically, but just like a big fat one. And I want to try to make some croissants. Yeah. I've been playing a lot of video games. A lot. EverQuest. Probably too much. I bought Hades recently, like in the middle of November, and I've already put 80 hours into it. But it's a damn good game. Like, the gameplay is fun. It's just challenging, where, like, you can also increase or decrease the challenge, in a sense, by incorporating God mode. And with God mode, you can have, like, up to, I think it's 80% damage reduction. So, like, you're not invincible, but it's not nearly as punishing. And I am definitely using it. It starts off at like 20%, and every time you die, it goes up. And I was just getting my ass handed to me left and fucking right. So I had to turn it on. I couldn't even get out of the first area. Like not the first single area, but like the first main area. It's called Tartarus. I just couldn't, like, it was impossible. I didn't, like, nothing seemed to be working. And now, like, I've gotten to the point where I probably should turn it off just to kind of see, like, how bad I still am. I need to get a new computer at some point, but I don't really have any money. And the clock is ticking on my trip to Buffalo, because the only thing that's currently paid for is the airfare. But I have a reservation for both the car and the hotel. And unless I can find some other kind of job, I'm probably not going to be able to go. So I've got 3 months to not only get another job, but then also get the money. And that part's going to suck. Oh well. I'm going to finish rinsing that out, getting stuff ready for the dishwasher, and start working on dishes. Have fun.